821st meeting, Tuesday, February 25th. Call to order. We have oral and written public communications.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Valerie Nicholson, and I come not just as faculty at Prairie State College, but also as a lifelong resident of our district. Recent efforts to design a restructuring the college's divisions is admirable and demonstrates a thoughtful response to changes in local, state, and federal guidelines. The college must take steps to retain its relevance, integrity, and viability for the long term. To that end, I support the creation of the position of Dean of Equity and Inclusion, as the intended purpose is to ensure that our high ethical standards are upheld. What I do not support is staffing this position without a proper, thorough, ethical, and transparent search, the gold standard by which Prairie State has operated since the beginning. We're filling this position in emergency situations, say replacing someone due to death or other unforeseen circumstance. An interim person would rightfully be assigned to temporarily take on those responsibilities until a full search has been completed for a permanent replacement. But that is not what is being recommended tonight. Instead, the administration has bypassed the objectivity of a fair and reasonable standard through a series of missteps and, in the words of the great Barney Fife, a failure to communicate. The administration has indicated its determination to move forward at all costs. This, in my opinion, is a disregard for due process and diligence. And this is why I object. In an attempt to justify its action, the administration appears not to understand the difference between what and how. The what part is clear, a desire for reorganization, and that's fine. The what is not the problem. It is the how that is the issue. How the reorganization design was developed and how it is being implemented is the problem. The reorganization was developed in isolation from the stakeholders, those of us, including the students, who will be directly impacted by it. There was no communication, simply a pronouncement. There was no request for input in the vision, simply a mandate. There was no teamwork or shared governance. This was top-down. The administration's response to the valid concerns raised by the stakeholders has been far from sufficient. In fact, the administration has gone so far as to pit one group against the other, creating an environment of suspicion and confusion, the likes of which I have never witnessed here before, all the while suggesting that our concerns are merely symptoms of jealousy and fear of change. I can assure you there is no jealousy here, and there is no fear. Change is inevitable and needed. Just last year, the college completed its reaccreditation process, an arduous 10-year journey. The report from the Higher Learning Commission was overwhelmingly positive, with only one expressed concern. The, quote, board's governance and adherence to board policies, end quote. It is on those matters only that the HLC has requested an interim report due this June. You are in the lens of the HLC, and they are hoping to see that measurable steps have been taken to improve the situation. Filling this position is not a situation that demands immediate action. It is not an emergency. To fill it without due process, without following the long-standing practice of a robust and proper search, is simply sloppy management. It is exactly the type of action that justifies the concerns raised by the HLC. If we demand ethical and thoughtful work from our students, then we must demand that of ourselves. No one in this room, not faculty, not administration, is exempt.
Good evening. I'm Jason Evans, professor in the English department. I'm here mostly to celebrate tenure, but I'm standing up here to speak to you tonight to tell you why I value the search process we follow for open positions at Prairie State, and why I think the Dean of Equity and Inclusion position, included we've heard as part of the reorganization of the Student Affairs Division, is too important to the college to be filled in an irregular way. Like Professor Nicholson, I strongly support a new focus on equity and inclusion across the college. I'm glad to hear that the administration plans to take steps to make Prairie State a more equitable and inclusive place. I would hope that the Dean of Equity and Inclusion could, among other things, support Prairie State in its continued mission to improve our hiring practice. But if the person in that role has been hired through an irregular, closed, opaque, and unilateral decision, the hard work of making Prairie State more equitable and inclusive will only have been set back. I'm not here to raise concerns about the purported candidate on an individual level, but I believe that the success of any new hire at the college, especially administrative ones, depends in part on a search and interview process that's open and transparent. Open and inclusive search processes lend legitimacy and authority to whomever passes through them. We want the work of equity and inclusion to be backed by legitimacy and authority. I also personally value the search process. As a new professor walking into the classroom here for the first time in January 2003, I had the feeling that I'd been tested against others and was indeed the best person for the job, or at least the best at that. My now retired colleague Maureen Stein, a longtime professor of humanities and professor of our own Dr. Winfrey, and who was on the faculty search committee who forwarded me, always said that serving on search and tenure committees was one of the most important things she could do for the college. That's why I've been honored and eager to serve on at least 8 search committees, mostly for faculty positions. I highly value the search process of finding new faculty and administrative colleagues. An open search gives us a chance to collaborate with the administration, to articulate to ourselves and others who we are, and to be surprised and delighted occasionally by a candidate that no one would have imagined possible. Institutional processes or irregular appointments. Open or closed, transparent or opaque, inclusive or exclusive, collaborative or unilateral, you are entrusted with deciding which direction to go.
Thank you. Introduction of recognition and presentations.
Okay, so for item 3.1, the Pioneer Award recognition, we have Mr. Michael Tomaszewski is here, and Marina Krinchik is the one that nominated him for the Pioneer Award. Michael, you want to stand up, and I believe Vice President Sagan is going to speak to that.
Oh, sure. I'm so pleased to do so. As Dr. Winfrey said, Marina, our Director of Business Services and Controller, recognized Mike, and I want to read her testimonial here. And I certainly support this. I'd like to nominate Michael Tomaszewski for the Pioneer Award. Michael definitely meets the criteria for this nomination. He consistently displays a high level of motivation, willingly assumes additional responsibilities, demonstrates exceptional performance, exemplifies our organizational values, including learning, excellence, accessibility, respect, and integrity. Also, because of his deep knowledge of the IT-related matters, obvious passion for work, and contagious enthusiasm. It's not hard to see how... Yeah, that's it. It's not hard to see how he always strives to make everyone's life and work better and easier. Checks and updates you several times on the status of your request. He explains it as much in detail as desired on the issue whether directly related to his responsibilities or not. Michael's extensive knowledge allows him to virtually answer any question about the computers and other IT equipment. If he doesn't know, he'll research and get back to you in an expedited manner. His work ethic and responsiveness are amazing and definitely contribute to the overall positive image and PSC brand at large. People like him should be acknowledged, and therefore, it is my great pleasure to submit this nomination.
Come on down.
All right, Mike.
Sure. So I know there's a lot to get to, so I'll keep this brief. Just wanted to say a very quick thank you to Maria Kurtich for nominating me for this honor, and for the fine men and women of the board for accepting that nomination. As well as I want to say thank you to my team. I could not have done it without the support and therefore empowerment that I'm given each and every day to provide the level of service that I feel that the students, faculty, and staff of Prairie State College deserve. So thank you so much.
The next Pioneer Award we have Dr. Justin Caruso made the nomination, so we'll speak to that one.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Justin Harris. I teach history here at the college, but I also wear another hat as our faculty advisor for Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. And it's in that capacity that I aim to nominate several individuals for a Pioneer Award for the work they did in helping me to solve a rather unique problem. The fact that our Phi Theta Kappa credentials kept dropping from student records, which was an ongoing mystery. This started by my working with Ms. Angela White, our enrollment services manager, who is consistently helping me to re-add our Phi Theta Kappa credentials back to our student records, but that was not a sustainable solution to said problem. So in concert with Ms. Karen Romberg, programmer analyst in ITR, Mr. Gordon Griffin II, our administrative systems and database administrator, and Ms. Jamie Miller, executive director of enrollment and financial aid. Everybody put their heads together, collaborated, communicated, and essentially lived up to the best of what I hope we can aspire to do here at Prairie State College, and working together as a team across departments to solve the problems that we encounter. And they really lived up to, I think, what the Pioneer Award stands for, and I was very happy to put their names forward for this recognition for helping to solve this issue. So I'm very pleased to stand before you today to put them forward for this nomination.
Ms. Karen Romberg, she's a program and analyst from ITR. Ms. Angela White, enrollment services manager.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I wanted to thank the award recipients and the folks in the introductory remarks section of our meeting, and also thank the faculty members who spoke with us today. And just before we start losing our audience and before we get into the consent part of the agenda, I wanted to make a little point of reflection on the points that were made about ethics, transparency, and board governance. It has come to my attention that on Friday afternoon, the law firm that serves as counsel to the college and to this board approached President Winfrey about negotiating the terms of her termination. Now, I had no idea about this before I heard about it, so I have reached out to several of my colleagues on the board. I've had a series of conversations, and I've come to the conclusion that one of two things is true. Either a majority on this board held an illegal meeting to come to that conclusion without my participation and potentially that of other members, or a minority on the board charged the law firm with taking action that did not have due authorization. So something is wrong here, and the very status of the governance of this college rides on us doing the right thing. So I appreciate the audience that we have in the room here today. I thank you for coming. The stakes are high here. We have been entrusted by the voters of this community college district to do the right job for an incredible institution, a diverse place that's special in many of our lives. And so, again, I want to thank you for coming, underscore the fact that the stakes are high here, that tonight's agenda is important, that we have serious business to do, but also to express, for the record, my extreme disappointment in what has taken place over the last 5 days, and my concern about what we will do going forward. Thank you. Mr. Chair, your agenda.
And also, thank you for that, but sometimes, you know, when it's dealing with a personnel matter like that, that's to be discussed in, you know, closed, but.
That's
for
right, so
your
this is
comment.
my public statement, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Now, what we're gonna do at this point, we're gonna move the tenure up. So we're gonna start at 5.1, 5.2. I'd like to get a motion to move 5.1 and 5.2 up for.
Mr. Chair,
Trustee Williams? Aye. Trustee Moore? Aye. Trustee Stanfield?
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Trustee Red?
Aye.
Student Trustee Devia? Aye. I can't work it. Tongue tied. Vice Chairman, Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman, Wiley?
Aye. 5.1. I'm gonna ask Dr. Winfrey if she can please present the item.
Okay, so this item is our tenure. We have 2 faculty members that we're recommending tenure to for this evening. And at this point, Dr. Hansel, the Vice President of Academic Affairs, will give you an overview and briefly explain to those of you that don't know what the tenure process is including.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman Wiley, Board of Trustees, guests, and our college community. In 1950, the standards for tenure were established for higher education. At Prairie State, tenure is a shared commitment between faculty and administration. Prairie State's tenure process is 2.5 years and it's a commitment between faculty and administration. Prairie State's tenure process is 2.5 years, and it starts within the first several weeks of the candidate's first semester of teaching. There are 4 major standards that are the basis for assessing the candidate: teaching effectiveness, curriculum development, professional development, and commitment to the college. The criteria outcomes are measured by self-appraisal, portfolio, peer review, administrative review, and classroom observations. The tenure process is a journey of self-reflection for the candidate, and the tenure committee acts as a mentor, a coach, offers support, suggestions, and oftentimes constructive criticism throughout the process. By the end of the tenure process, the college has a faculty member that contributes to the academic excellence of the college, a faculty member who is committed to the success of the college, improves the quality of the community, and most important, contributes to the success of our students. I would like to introduce Dr. Dean Wilson, who will please share some highlights of Assistant Professor Brianna Abate's portfolio and recommendation of tenure.
Good evening, Chairman Wiley, President Winfrey, members of the board, guests, our BSC community. It is with pleasure, okay, that I celebrate the awarding of tenure this evening. First of all, for Brianna Abate, Assistant Professor of Communication. First of all, I'd like to thank and acknowledge her tenure committee, who's worked with her over the last 2.5 years. The chair of the committee, Dr. Diane D'Souza. Communication Professor, Mr. Josh Green. Humanities Professor, Dr. George Streeter. I can tell you that over the last 2.5 years, looking through all of their evaluations, their classroom observations, going to tenure committee meetings that they have held, Professor Abate truly to the guidelines that are established for all faculty in order to reach this monumental moment. So let's talk about Ms. Abate. Please stand. Ms. Abate earned her AA in General Studies from the College of DuPage, her BS in Communication from Bradley University, and her MA in Speech Communication from Miami University of Ohio. Ms. Abate is a highly professional and competent teacher. She really exudes enthusiasm for her discipline, and her committee, throughout their observations and written observations of her and summative evaluations, have talked about how well she displays or demonstrates her expertise and her discipline and the joy that she communicates in trying to help her students to understand what it means to be an effective communicator. She creates a supportive learning environment for her students. She challenges them to think critically and strives to communicate in an appropriate and always helpful manner. But I don't need to say that. All I had to do was to glean comments from her student surveys. And here's what students say about Professor Abate. She makes us work hard, but in the end, she really helped me improve my public speaking skills. I like that she is always on time and takes her class seriously and expects us to do the same. I particularly like that she has one-on-one meetings with each of us in the beginning of the course. I like that the teacher took the effort to get to know me and let me know exactly what needed to be done to succeed in the course. Yeah, everybody says she has high expectations for us, but I like that because she genuinely wants to help us pass the course. So in addition to her commitment to helping students succeed, Ms. Abate has also made excellent contributions to the college and in her department. In her department, she was asked to organize last year's Communication Day event and to begin planning for the development of the Speaking and Listening Center. For the college, she has served on the Faculty Development Committee and presented twice at Better Teaching workshops. She has served on the ad hoc committee with the president to improve campus communication as part of the strategic plan. She served on the professional development committee and presented twice during this all-campus event. Most recently, she was asked by VP Hansel to serve as the faculty representative on the Planning and Quality Improvement Committee. So, as you can see, when people are asked early on in their career to do something, it means that people generally think that they have something to contribute, not only to student success, but also to the well-being and furtherment of the goals and the mission of our college. And we think that Professor Abate, I know that her portfolio really demonstrates ample evidence of her commitment to our students, to the mission of our college, to the values of our college, and to student success. That's her portfolio. The members of her tenure committee note the following. Professor Abate's energy and intellect coupled with her eagerness to use that energy and intellect to construct an exciting and growth-inducing classroom is to be commended. She is tough, but fair, warm, but professional, and clearly focused on student success. Over the past 2.5 years, Professor Abate has demonstrated through her actions and her self-appraisal that she is determined to be the best teacher that she can be. Not for personal satisfaction or public recognition, but because she really cares about the success of her students, not only in the classroom, but outside in the real world. We encourage Professor Abate to continue to use her talents to live out the mission and the values of Prairie State College, and we look forward to working with her for years to come. Dr. Hansel, it is my recommendation and the recommendation of her tenure committee that Professor Abate be awarded tenure this evening.
Thank you, Dean Wilson. Based upon the evaluation of the dean, the peer committee, student evaluations, and the portfolio documentation, I hereby recommend to the president the candidacy of Assistant Professor Ms. Brianna Abate for the award of tenure from Prairie State College.
Thank you, Vice President Hansel. Board Chair Wiley, I hereby present Assistant Professor Brianna Abate to the award of tenure.
Thank you. It is the recommendation that the Board of Trustees award a faculty tenure appointment to Ms. Brianna Abate, Assistant Professor of Communications, effective August 2020.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? None. Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams.
No.
Trustee Mulhern. Trustee Stampa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy.
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Student Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Dr. White. Chairman Wiley.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Congratulations, Assistant Professor Brianna Abate. We get the tenure committee.
The tenure committee?
I'll say so moved and then you can say it after.
Good evening. I arrived here tonight via circuitous path as I dropped out of high school in my junior year. In a pre-digital world, I altered handwritten report cards and called myself out with ease, attending just enough to be eligible to participate in extracurricular activities. And I managed to pull it off for more than a year, until I was eventually forced to come clean when my parents inquired as to why they hadn't heard information about ordering a cap and gown. As you can imagine, that conversation did not go well for me. 20 years later, I am still grounded. 18 and without a high school diploma, I enrolled in my local community college. But while the location had changed my behavior so much, and I failed my entire first year at COD. On academic probation and unable to participate in activities or keep my work-study job, it was my student government advisor, the late Dr. Rob Frank, who made plain to me that which I was unwilling to see. I could do and be more if only I could get out of my own way. It took a few more months to truly internalize that message, and longer still to pull myself out of the academic abyss I had created for myself. But with Rob's encouragement, I eventually earned my GED and then my associate's before transferring to Bradley University. While there, I met Dr. Paul Gullifer, who would become my favorite professor. It was Paul who recognized my love of communication and encouraged me to pursue a graduate degree. His approachability and generosity of spirit and shared enthusiasm for the field made me believe I could be a teacher. It was the quiet perseverance of my graduate advisor, Dr. Ben Vogt, who personified for me what it is to be a student-centered teacher. His approach taught me I didn't have to choose between being a kind person and a ferocious advocate of students. I don't think they knew it at the time, but while they were busy helping me become a better student and teacher, these professors were also teaching me about the kind of colleague I wanted to become. Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "The key to keep company only with the people who uplift you, those whose presence calls forth your best." Tonight you'll see I'm surrounded by faculty and staff and colleagues and friends who embody that maxim. A quick glance around the room reveals a sea of people who have come together tonight in support of their peers, colleagues whose very presence sweetens victories and softens defeats. I am thankful for your tireless support and proud to be a member of this body of student advocates. Former teachers themselves, President Winfrey and Vice President Hansel, continue to positively impact students through their support of faculty. It is the rare administrator who treats the unannounced visit by a faculty member as an opportunity and not an inconvenience. There isn't a chorus big enough to adequately sing the praises of Dean Wilson, a man whose passion for developing teachers is exceeded only by his gravitas. And finally, my tenure committee, Professors Ed Schwartz, Diane D'Souza, George Streeter, and Josh Green, whose perspective and perspicuity were instrumental in helping me reconceptualize and expand what it is I bring to a classroom. I like to tell my students the parable of the man walking down the street who falls into a hole. The side's too steep for him to climb out. A doctor walks by and the man yells, "Hey doc, I'm stuck in this hole, can you help me?" The doctor writes a prescription, throws it in the hole. And then a priest walks by and the guy goes, "Hey father, I'm down in this hole, can you help me?" Father writes out a prayer, throws it down, continues on.
Well,
And then a friend walks by. The guy goes, "Hey Joe, it's me, I'm down in the hole, can you help me?" And the friend jumps in too. Our guy goes, "Are you stupid? No, we're both down here." And the friend says, "Yeah, but I have down here before, and I know the way out." As someone who defies the college professor archetype, I know well I have a responsibility to help students learn from my mistakes, but more importantly, to learn that there is more than one road to success. I learned the hard way that college is a safe place to fail, but with the guidance and support, I could become the architect of my own success. I thank you all for the opportunity to continue helping my students become the architect of theirs.
So the next item is item 5.2. It's tenure recommendation for Kathleen Karowski. And so at this time, I would like the Dean, Carol Fawcett, to please come forward and present the next candidate.
Good evening. It's my honor to present Kathleen Karowski for tenure this evening. Stand up, Kathy. I'll provide a summary of her portfolio. We may be here until the next meeting, but minors over there. But I'll give you the highlights. Kathleen is a registered dental hygienist who earned her associate degree here at Prairie State College. Continued her education at Governor State University, earning her Bachelor's of Arts and Master's of Arts degrees in Communication. Before Before joining full-time faculty here at PSC, Kathleen served as adjunct faculty for over 18 years. As full-time faculty, she has been committed to the college. Some examples are she has been involved in our college assessment council. She volunteers for a variety of different college events like open house, serving as faculty marshal at commencement ceremony, going out to community events to promote the dental hygiene program, and being a representative of the college, serving on faculty search committees. Kathleen is dedicated to her dental hygiene department. She serves as the chair to the department. She mentors new dental hygiene adjunct faculty and coordinates each semester a calibration meeting so that all faculty know what's occurring in the department and know what to expect as the semester moves on. She's the coordinator for the CDCA Dental Hygiene Board exam that our students take here on campus. She coordinates events for Program Enrichment Week for the dental hygiene students and serves as a faculty representative for students for the student group club SADA. Over the last year, Kathleen has contributed to the writing of the dental hygiene program self-study for the accreditation visit that occurred this past fall in October, which we had a very successful accreditation visit to Kathy's credit and the rest of the dental hygiene faculty. She is committed to ensuring the success of her students. I've done many observations in the classroom, and her tenure committee agrees that she works to make her classes engaging and promote student success. Her dedication for teaching and learning radiates from her on a daily basis. Her students speak to her ability to meet them where they are, stating that she's passionate about the dental field and teaching, as well as her willingness to help the students outside of the classroom at all times of the day. Kathleen's tenure committee, Dr. Carol Braun, Dr. Patty Eberhardt, and Dr. Maureen Grady, describe her as diligent in all aspects of her role at Prairie State College. She encourages communication and considers all suggestions from adjunct faculty, full-time staff, and administration, and diligently supports her students in all they do. Dr. Hansel, it is my recommendation and the recommendation of Kathleen's tenure committee that she be awarded tenure this evening.
Thank you, Dean Fawcett. Based upon the evaluation of the dean, the peer committee, student evaluation, and the portfolio of documentation, I hereby recommend to the president the candidacy of Assistant Professor Ms. Kathleen Karowski, who waited 18 years for the Prairie State College.
I hereby present Assistant Professor Ms. Kathleen Karowski for the award of tenure.
As recommended, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees award a faculty tenure appointment to Ms. Kathleen Karowski, Assistant Professor of Dental Hygiene, effective August 2020.
So moved.
Second. Okay, Jay's second. Any discussion? If not,
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern. Trustee Stanford.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy. Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White.
Aye.
Chairman Wiley.
aye. Congratulations.
We'll get one.
one more. One with your tenure. Oh, you're. Yeah, we need to.
Now it's committee time.
Carol, you have to
She named them, yeah. I prefer that.
Wow. Yes, it's awesome. And who would have thought? 32 years ago, I walked across the stage here at Prairie State College and became a registered dental hygienist. I had an awesome tenure committee. I had Maureen and Patty, you guys stand up, please, for me. Maureen Grady, Patty Ebenhart, Dr. Carol Brown, and Dean Fawcett, stand up, please. They were awesome. They helped me through. They not only gave me such support, but they found an opportunity to make this a joy to go through my tenure and to make sure that I would keep myself calm and not stressed. And of course, Dean Hansel would remind me, we'll get you through this, don't worry, because it has been a journey. I've been an adjunct faculty member for 18 years, and then here is full-time for the rest. And I can tell you my heart and soul is here at Prairie State College, never left. And I am dedicated to this school because I love not only the school, but I love the people here, and more so the students. I'm teaching them an opportunity to gain something in life that at times some of them would never be able to achieve. And that is a career, and that is a possibility to go out and buy their own home, buy their own car. And as I tell some of the girls, yes, buy yourself a Louis Vuitton purse. I'm surrounded here by my family here who has given up so much of my time, and they have been through me through thick and thin. And my mom. And my husband have heard everything about this school. I cry because I'm filled with so much joy. And I have friends here. I have Maureen Reiser here with her husband who came, and my faculty who has come also, who has seen me through this journey and has been beside me through thick and thin. It has been a journey, and who would have thought that a girl that came from two parents that didn't graduate college and didn't graduate high school are now have given me the opportunities and raised me to know what's right and wrong, and ethics and character, and what hard work and dedication can do. I wasn't accepted into the program of dental hygiene my first time, but I didn't give up. I stayed and I struggled through it. And every night I would stay in and study. I wasn't the A student, I was the C student, but I was A in clinic, and that's right. And my father, God rest his soul, for raising a daughter and getting me here and say, who would have thought?
All right, everyone, to give our new tenures and their family a chance, we're gonna take a 15-minute break, and that way they can go ahead and take pictures and mingle and eat, and I guess they're.
And the staff house.
Okay.
Just down the hall.
So we're gonna take a 15-minute recess, for those that's coming back. .1 through 4.10, are there any candidates for?
Mr. Chair, I don't necessarily want to pull it, but just have some corrections made. 4.5, please. The minutes for January 28th. Where it's reflected, consent items, they were actually action items. We didn't take care of any consent items that night. There's no mention of the reason that we had a condensed meeting and only took care of those two items, which was 5.5 resolution for the debt certificate, and 5.15 the presentation of the annual financial report and audit. Those were the only action items that we took care of that night. We had the abbreviated meeting because Trustee Stanford was only to be here for a short time. He couldn't get away from work, and we had a quorum issue. So therefore, to meet our quorum, Trustee Stanford was here during his lunchtime. It was very abbreviated, so we need to have that correctly reflected.
I'm not listed as absent either. I was on here.
Joe, you're.
I wasn't, it's all.
Okay, then Chairman, I would ask to we pull 4.5 from the consent agenda and we'll address that in the.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the items on the consent agenda except with the exception of 4.5, the regular meeting, January 28th, 2020, and two corrections.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern?
Aye.
Trustee Stampa?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy? Aye. Trustee Delavia is not here. Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman, Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman Wiley?
Aye. So it's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the minutes of the 819th regular meeting of December 4th, 2019, minutes of closed session of December 4th, 2019, minutes of special meeting and board workshop, December 10th, 2019.
We just
No, we did.
we just did the consent.
All right.
Now we need to adjust 4.5.
All right, so we got that. We got that.
Right, now we need to.
I thought I
We did
did.
approve 4.10, correct? That was the way it was read.
Correct. We have to pull. So now we can address. Which,
Right.
we made corrections. Now we need to consider on those. These are the amended corrections to the minutes on 4.5.
It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the amended minutes on our 4.5, 8/20 regular meeting, January 28th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern?
Aye.
Trustee Stanford?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy? Aye. Trustee Delavia?
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice
I'll say aye.
Chairman, Dr. White? Aye. And then Chairman Wiley?
Aye. Action item 5.2.
So, as you just saw, we did the tenure for faculty that were receiving tenure, but we do have several faculty that teach here that are in the tenure process. So 5.3 addresses the faculty entering the third year at the college. and then the faculty entering the second year at the college. So they have a one-year contract, so that's what this is.
It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the continuation of employment and the issuance of annual contracts for full-time tenure-track faculty members listed below for the 2020 and 2021 academic year.
So moved.
Discussion? That was carried.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern. Trustee Stanford. Aye. Trustee Reddy. Aye. Poorly.
You were born ready, right?
Trustee Valdivia. Trustee Bykowski says an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White. Chairman Wiley.
Aye. 5.4.
5.4 is the appointment of assistant professor and coordinator of our CNA program. And you can see here that Ms. Kimberly Pena got her associate's degree here also in 1998 and has worked as a nurse for over 20 years, providing care for her ventilator-dependent patients. She's been an adjunct faculty member here also since 2011. And the faculty search committee, as you can see, a lot of nice things they said about her, but mostly that she was passionate about teaching her CNA students, and she certainly understands and agrees, given her background, about the Prairie College mission.
5.4, a recommendation for the appointment of an assistant professor coordinator, certified nursing assistant will be made following discussion in closed session.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Trustee.
Yeah. No, we don't.
We don't need a motion.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
so I guess we have to take
We have
that
to
motion
rescind.
back on.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to rescind the previous motion.
That the Board of Trustees approve the appointment of Ms. Kimberly Pena as Assistant Professor Coordinator, Certified Nursing Assistant, effective January 7, 2020, at the annual salary of $54,634.
So moved.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern.
Aye.
Trustee Stanford. Aye. Trustee Reddy. Aye. Trustee Valdivia. Vice Chairman Dr. White. Chairman Wiley.
Aye.
Oh, Trustee Bykowski is an aye too. Thank you.
5.5.
Okay, 5.5, you have a handout at your places. Each of you should have a handout that looks like this. The one that's in the packet has an error. We put the wrong one in there. So if you look at 5.5, there you go. So make sure you get the right credentials for the right faculty member. So this one is the appointment of Assistant Professor and Coordinator for Childhood Development. Many of you would remember Dr. Collins. She was on our stage last year during commencement. She was the honorary Grand Marshal because she was the ICCTA part-time faculty of the year. So you probably remember her from that, but there's lots of other things in here about a strong history of serving as a consultant, trainer, and presenter, in addition to also being an adjunct faculty member here as well. So she continues to work also with Head Start, where she serves as a quality assurance consultant, and then also feedback from her committee demonstrates her ability also to certainly understand our students and our population that we serve. So we highly recommend.
What was the error between
Well, the one in your packet, this is correct. The one in the packet has the correct motion, but it has the wrong rationale. It talks about surgical technology. So it's just an error from the data just presented.
she's an education coordinator?
We have 5.5, that the Board of Trustees approve the appointment of Dr. Latia Collins as Assistant Professor Coordinator, Childhood Development, effective January 7, 2020, at the annual salary of $68,957.
Second. Well,
Who was this? Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern? Trustee Stampa?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy? Aye. Student trustee Valdez? Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman Wiley?
Aye. 5.6.
And 5.6 was the recommendation that you've seen previously. It's the reorganization of the student affairs.
5.6, that the Board of Trustees accept the reorganization plan for Students Affairs as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Oh, you first. Okay. Dr. Anthony. Were you able to have any discussion with the union, with collective bargaining units?
I was, and I provided the president with a memo for January 28th meeting to distribute to all, and I'm happy to comment from that memo for the record, if that's helpful for the board.
Please, please.
So first of all, let me thank my faculty colleagues. I don't see the two, Jason here. Thank our faculty colleagues. Despite my management position, I'm a labor guy at heart. So I always appreciate our union leadership speaking their concerns. So let me make sure I address those boards to Trustee Reddy's point as well, to make sure you all have a clear understanding. I've met the faculty union president several times, we've become close friends. The adjunct faculty president, the faculty senate, and met with 9 academic departments between July 2019 and October 2019, after I was hired 3 months after. During that time, I did not have the specifics of the reorganization finalized, but simply mentioned that I'm working to build an infrastructure around equity and inclusion work. So I acknowledge very closely that I should have circled back to more details with the faculty union. However, it does not change my thinking on the reorganization. In my communications with the faculty union, I also gave my rationale for doing the search and how there is indeed past precedence for doing appointments of administrators and managers, some in this very room, without a search. I want to highlight that rationale again for the record. This organization only works financially, meaning cost neutrally, if I promote from within. Using funding from an existing position in addition to a portion of funding from the vacated FYE director position makes this possible. The remaining funding from the vacated position enables other significant changes to happen. They're connected. I will mention the candidate concerning Ms. Brewer because it's relevant to the conversation. The position of Dean of Equity and Inclusion, though a new title, with some new responsibilities, is tantamount to an internal promotion, as full 70% of Ms. Brewer's current job remains in this new position. With the creation of the Dean of Equity and Inclusion position, Ms. Brewer's current role will cease to exist. Ms. Brewer has demonstrated her ability to work with the staff in which she will supervise, according to this reorganization, and has indeed already added value to many of their efforts, many of which she has not been compensated for or documented before. She knows the gaps and challenges facing the college. She's a professional with no record of complaints against her, either to her supervisor or her vice president. I have served in a role similar to the one being proposed at 2 community colleges, one being in this very state. I was first appointed as a CDO, a Chief Diversity, 7 years ago. 7 years ago. I want to use the word disgusted, but I'll say disappointed that a college that serves this many people of color does not already have this kind of setup. I was a fellow for the National Association of Diversity Officers in Higher Education 5 years ago. I know this work. I know how to create an infrastructure for it, and was hired to do so by this board. Based on my review of her credentials, observation for work, her employee record, my analysis of the needs of the position, Ms. Brewer is a candidate for this role for this time. A search would take time to further start us towards our goals, be costly, and ultimately futile, given the unique situation opportunity we have. The faculty may not think we're in a crisis, but I do. With the number of students pouring out the back of this institution, particularly black and brown ones, with equity gaps and all, it is an emergency. And we should be doing everything we can now to advance those goals. There are 2 things that may not have been clear from communication to the faculty union. The first is just how much the rest of the organization hinges on this position. The realignment of reporting structures within all of the areas, enrollment, student development, and within equity and inclusion, is an important element of reorganization, as are the subsequent strategies that we've deployed as a result. The reorganization is holistic, interrelated, and comprehensive, not about one person or one position. The second thing that I want to make sure I point out, this was a blatant mistruth. I did consult many on this reorganization. As I acknowledge, I did not go back to faculty union as I should have. I made a mistake. The staff union is in full support of this reorganization and has been, and the promotion of Ms. Brewer, since I shared this with them in November 2019 before this body even saw it. I sat down with them 4 times from August 6th to November 22nd. Their support is significant for 2 reasons. First, their members will be subject to supervision and evaluation by Ms. Brewer. That matters. And are most directly affected by this change. Second, it demonstrates that I do value shared governance. I do. That my record beyond Prairie State speaks to that. And I'll put that in front of anybody to examine. Sometimes I miss the mark. But I sat down, I challenge you to tell me the administrator is more transparent at this table or otherwise than I have. I've taken great care with this reorganization and willingly engaged in conversation about it. Given the totality of circumstances, including the concerns of the faculty, including the support of the staff in this area, including the support of the president, including the support of the staff union, all of these factors, as management, I take into consideration. And given that, I still support what I've laid out to you. Shared governance is not always shared decision making. As the manager, I have the right and responsibility to make decisions I see fit coming to hire me. I heard faculty, we just simply disagree, and that's okay. Healthy democracies do all the time. I will close by saying if there's a time, a position, a circumstance in which we should forego a search, as we have before, I believe this is it. Again, I hope that the faculty have come forward before to advocate for such a position like this, as they did today, to resist it, or the process by which they began the process. But I stand by the decision I made and the thought put into it, and hope you support it, but I trust you as well.
I appreciate the candor, Dr. Anthony.
You always have it, trust me.
Did you have further comments? No, I'm good. Yeah, I would just, I wanted to take the moment in the discussion just to say, not just for you, Dr. Anthony, I think I'm going to vote no on this motion that's on the floor. And I would just clarify for the record, it's not out of a lack of respect for your judgment and the reasons you've just articulated. I take fully the weight of the need for the position and the timing need that you have described. So I appreciate those factors. I think that, and not everyone in the room may know, there were 2 other departments with reorganization proposals put before us 2 months ago now, 2 meetings ago, and they're not even on the agenda. And it's for the reasons of that irregularity, I'm going to vote no on this motion, because I just think for us to do the governance right, we should be hearing both the concerns that the faculty brought forth today, and I think the equally articulate memos that we would hear from the other departmental heads who've set forth cost-neutral reorganization plans as well that aren't on today's agenda. So my no vote is a protest at the agenda setting for today, with a recognition also that I think, given the faculty concerns brought up earlier tonight, it's not a simple decision matter. Thank you.
In my discussion on this, I had asked in the very beginning, when Dr. Anthony had presented his reorganization, and I remember I sent out several emails to Dr. Winfrey, and she went back to the other VP. There was a certain format that I was looking for, and they had been working back and forth with this. And as I had informed, Trustee Rady, I believe last week, me and him had this discussion, there were certain things that I'm looking for. We're not telling you no. There were certain things, and I'm not going to go having the board to rush into those other matters. We're not telling the other VPs no, and I made that clear. And I think when me and Dr. Winfrey has said that, there were certain things that I had questions on, and that's the reason we didn't go any further. So I don't want anyone, especially you other VPs, to say, oh, he's just leaving us out. I'm not. There are certain things that we're looking for too, especially I understand your departments are a little larger. So that's just for me on my comment on that.
Where Ms. Brewer is going, that is an administrative position, correct?
Correct.
Non-contractual,
She's a manager now, you know, so, like many have been done in the past.
So VP, Anthony, I know you really well. I just wanted you, if you could, like, re-elaborate, really quick what your stance on it.
I'm sorry.
Your stance, what we were trying to, what are the main benefits? If you could just really, re-elaborate.
I can't, yes, trustee, about that. So the position of Dean of Equity and Inclusion is one by many titles across the country. As Chief Diversity Officer, my role is Assistant Vice President and CDO at Oakland Community College for 4 years. Sometimes it's just attached on the CDO. This position is meant to do functions that relate to compliance, Title IX compliance, but also other kinds of education compliance that we do, but also to support the faculty and staff as it relates to equity and inclusion best practices. It works with HR very closely in hiring of employees, which we have a lot of work to do when it comes to hiring faculty and staff who look like our students. There's also work that we can be doing within the sphere of programmatic experiences. Right now, the functional areas of diversity kind of function across different areas. This will bring them together. The TRIO programs, the MSI work, and our coordinators here, the Hispanic outreach, Jennifer Rodriguez, her work, disability services work, veteran services work, all reports to one hand. Strategically, that works that way. Again, I remind the board my doctorate in leadership and organizational development. I think about these things often. How structures work to best suit student success. So this is one strategy to do that, plus there's lots more happening with this organization that helps.
I mean, I was student you, since you're saying, seeing how students don't look like me, obviously, as a student who's Latina, low income, all that stuff, I think that's, something really beneficial for students. I'm like, wow, that, because I come around to the school and I see, I'm like, wow, a lot of these teachers, professors don't look like me, they don't know my story, they don't relate to my story. If I come in and I say I'm a doctor student, they're not gonna know how that feels. And that's I think that's really beneficial for a school, and that's what the school looks for, is how to help these students. Because in reality, the school is surrounded by the students, and that's gonna make the students look better. If more students are more comfortable to come here to the school and think these teachers can help me more. So I really think that's a really good idea, in my opinion.
I appreciate that. I do the same about you.
Thank you.
And then before we get ready to call for a vote, the next steps also to finish up for the other VPs. I've been real careful, when the other board members are bringing it up, and I've been very careful about just going across the table and saying we're going to do a full reorganization, because I made mention in emails, and Dr. Winfrey has spoken about this too. When it comes down to, we have faculty members that are in negotiations for their contracts, and my only concern is, I want to see where this money is coming from, for one. And the second is, I don't want us voting on, giving out, new positions or money in certain places. And then next thing you know, when you guys are coming up in faculty, you guys are the ones that's gonna be coming up saying, well, now we're gonna get the short end of the stick. That's why I'm sitting here asking, I wanna see everything before we do it, because I don't wanna have it where this board votes, and goes forward, and then we find out it's gonna cost us more somewhere else. And then you guys are gonna be pissed off at us because, we're gonna say we can't give this to you. It's basically just being about, just open and seeing the whole big picture, that's it. So again, this isn't about telling the VPs no, we're just doing everything step by step at this point. So that's all. Any other comments?
I just have a question. In your rationale, you talked about closing the achievement and opportunity gaps. You've identified those achievement and opportunity gaps, and then have you come up with a measurable way to do that in the process? I know because it's new, so and like I said, I just came across this, and I'm in education myself, so I'm always like that measurable, that measurable, how are you going to measure that? So,
yeah, there's two questions there that I'm trying to get to both of them. Do we know what those gaps are? The college has long known what the gaps are. This isn't something I've learned. The college can very easily, at course level, see success by, this was in our civil one, right? So by course, how many students are succeeding, is aggregated by race and gender. So we know that now, so certainly the percent reform was made, but also before that, it's not big, that's hidden. At least it shouldn't be. We have some work to do on that area, by the way. The second thing is how to fix it. So there are lots of strategies to fix both the student achievement gap, right, faculty, classroom activities, but also sense of belonging outside of the classroom, and that's part of a whole workbook of things. So I asked Ms. Brewer, actually, as last semester was closing down, we're talking about some things, to think through a work plan for what are some of the things we need to be doing in the immediate term, the short term, and in the long term, that will look at how to get students to be more successful in the classroom and out. So that has to do with advising reorganization, new student orientation, mandatory College 101, which I have engaged faculty about doing and we will do this year, which we didn't do last year. Big uproar from the faculty. Granted, it was a good uproar, it was valid. We didn't do it last year, we will be doing it this year, right? I've committed to that and work with Teresa McCann to make it happen. These best practices that we should have been doing and should have been firmed up a long time ago are what we will do to continue to advance that. Oftentimes, the problem is that there's not a leader to kind of manage that and keep that eye on it. Because everybody's so busy, right? Everybody's looking at everything else. So oftentimes within K-12 systems, but also higher ed systems, this is why the evolution of the chief diversity role came out, to really keep our eye on the ball, measure success, help people hold accountable, advise the president and cabinet on matters that need our attention. So that's part of the solution to this.
Thank you.
No further discussion?
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern?
I'm going to abstain.
Trustee Stampa?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy?
No.
Trustee Valdivia?
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman Wiley?
Aye.
Okay. 5.7 is the first and final reading for the board policy C9, sexual harassment. As you can see in the rationale, public act requires that all units of government, this has been a change that's been made by legislation, and it technically went into effect on February 9th. Because we didn't have a quorum to vote on this at our last one, that's why we've asked for a first and final, so that we can expedite it. And the attorneys Delgado were the ones that provided all the work that you see in the following pages.
5.7, recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the first and final reading, Board Policy C9, Sexual Harassment as revised, and approve the resolution amending Board Policy C9, Sexual Harassment for Illinois Community College District Number 515, counties of Cook and Will, State of Illinois.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
From when I voted on this, from what I understand, I voted previously on this on another unit of body system, that the change of policy is towards elected officials. This is not a change towards employees, but towards elected people in the body they represent, so. I just wanted to clarify that, so. Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern?
Aye.
Trustee Stampa?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy?
Aye.
Trustee Valdivia?
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman Wiley?
Aye.
5.8 is approval of a new program. It's a wind turbine certificate program. And you can see the rationale includes the employment growth projections and also all of the courses that are included in the certificate.
5.8, recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve a certificate program, wind turbine.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
This went through committee, correct? And I just want to say, great job to the committee for approving this program, because I know that this is a growing sector, and actually know people who work in the sector, and it is hugely growing, and it provides great salaries for people who work in it. And I think that's an important mission of the college, is that we provide programming in which people find gainful employment. So I was very happy to see this.
Absolutely required for all of them, all of our programs, yep.
To see this on here, so.
Yeah, 57% growth.
So just want to say thank you, congratulations to the college on that.
Congratulate these two.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern?
Aye.
Trustee Stanfa?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy? Aye. Trustee Valdivia? Aye. Trustee Bakowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman Wiley?
Aye. 5.9.
5.9 is another new program that a few people in the audience might get applause for again, I don't know. Solar photovoltaic certificate, and again, it talks about the growth of the employment is 63% in this one. And then it also lists all the classes that are included for this certificate.
So moved.
I'm
ready to roll through.
And I'm tired, and I caught that one. 5.9, that the Board of Trustees approve a new certificate program, solar photovoltaic.
So moved.
Second. Mr. Reddy. Mr. Reddy on the second.
Discussion?
Aye. Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern?
Aye.
Trustee Stanfa?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy? Aye. Trustee Valdivia?
Aye.
Trustee Bakowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman Wiley?
Aye.
5.10.
5.10, project recommendation is the Illinois Community College Board fiscal year 20 deferred maintenance. So this is the time where ICCB, the Illinois Community College Board, asks us to give a project submission for deferred maintenance. And then people all submit them, and then they have them, and then later in the year, they will select which project. So these are the two projects, and they're in the rank of order as they're listed that we're submitting.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the Illinois Community College Board fiscal year 20 deferred maintenance project submission. I'd like to get a motion.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Secretary?
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern? Trustee Stanfa?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy? Aye. Trustee Valdivia?
Aye.
Trustee Bakowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman Wiley?
Aye.
5.11.
Is the project recommendation for in our tech wing, there's a hot water tank replacement needed. It's been here since 1998. It is in need of replacement due to that age. So there's 2 hot water tanks that serve the entire tech wing, and if you list the areas that it includes.
We've been around since Moby Dick was a minute. It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the Tech Wing Hot Water Tank Replacement Project for an estimated cost of $72,000, including architectural, engineering services, construction costs, and contingency. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
So I believe this will be going out for our
If it is approved from the ICCD, yeah, this is just a submission, they have it identified, yeah. At that time, but definitely.
I have a question. These are tank water heaters, correct? Is Tim
I wanna
on?
bring Tim up.
Where's Tim?
I'm right here.
Hey, Tim, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself, trustee?
Tim,
Yes.
Yeah,
what
I
about
said the
tankless
wrong
water
thing.
heaters? Is this too big of a project to use that kind of technology?
That's an option.
Or on demand, I'm sorry.
That's an option that we can consider.
Okay.
We're basically, this step is to give us the approval to proceed for the project. And once, if we do receive approval, we review all options.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, if we could go, even if it was a little more money to go on demand over the course of a 20-year stretch, which is probably the life of the system, we would save a lot of money. All we're doing is heating 2 big kettles of water all day.
Correct.
Right?
And we can take
Tim
a,
knows this stuff, you guys, right?
Yes.
We
Yes.
know, we both kind of know what we're talking about. You know more than I do, but if you could possibly look at a system
We
And I'm
could-
sure it's gonna be more money.
Correct.
If you
And
can
we-
figure out the cost effectiveness over a 20-year span,
Yeah, there may
and
be
bring
some
it back to
savings.
us and go, well, yeah, it's 105,000, but the money you're gonna save. I'd like to see something like that possible.
So Tim, based on your knowledge, once we vote on this, then we'll just ask you to go do your thing and come back to us.
I can do that.
All right. We appreciate that. Any other comments? Roll
Thank you,
call.
Tim.
Thank you.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Mulhern. Trustee Stampa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy. Aye. Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White.
Aye.
Chairman Wiley.
Aye. 512.
Bid recommendation for the summer 2020 credit and non-credit course schedule, and as you can see, there was only one bid, even though we sent it out to many people, there's just fewer and fewer people that actually are in this business. So Woodward Printing, although we've used them many times, so we're very happy with them. That's our recommendation.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees award the bid for the summer 2020 course schedule to the lowest responsible bidder, Woodward Printing Services, in the amount of $16,780 plus $662 for an additional 4 pages if needed, $1,186 for an additional 8 pages if needed, and $150 per thousand for additional copies if needed. Get a motion.
So moved.
Discussion.
Yeah, just a question, Dr. Saban. I'm assuming, and I think President Winfrey sort of addressed this by implication, but the idea of responsible bidder, since there's only one, if it wasn't a good bid based on the experience of the college, I assume you would come to some other course of action and bid it out again?
We would rebid it.
Okay, so you're comfortable with this
Yes.
price with the one bid? Thank you. That's all.
Any other discussion, questions? Secretary.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern. Trustee Stampa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy.
Aye.
Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice President Dr. White.
Yes.
Chair Wiley.
Aye.
Okay,
513.
and
I'll
this
be the
is
vice president.
a bid recommendation. This is the charter bus service for our athletic teams. We've been using the fleet that we have, which includes the 215 passenger and the 125, but I guess a lot of things around here are getting old, so just like the previous things we've talked about, we're more in need now to be using a bus service for our athletic teams. We'll still use our vans, our smaller ones when we're local and not going very far, but for the longer trips, we need to do this. So we've used the services of Infinity Transportation on and off previously, and so we're looking to get a regular ability to go higher than just once here and there, to have a regular amount to use for Infinity.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees award the bid for charter bus service to Infinity Transportation as the official transportation provider for Prairie State College student athletes and coaches to away athletic contests. Infinity will provide this service at an estimated cost of $4,100 per month, depending on the amount of road contests, which fluctuate from year to year from sport to sport. I get a motion.
So moved.
Second. Discussion, questions? Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern. Trustee Stampa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy.
Aye.
Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice President Dr. White.
I'll be the vice president. Y'all know we joke. Yes.
Chair Wiley.
Aye.
514.
A bid recommendation for the overnight security service.
Vice Chair.
So this is for the, from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 7 days a week, and then also at the Matheson Area Center for the evening shifts between 6 and 10 p.m. And you can see the one that we've selected is Securetex. They are a certified women business enterprise, so, and they have a great experience in educational institutions.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the award of the bid to provide overnight security services to Securetex Security Services in the amount of $134,508.48 annually. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, discussion? Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Mulhern.
Aye.
Trustee Stampa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy.
Aye.
Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Vice Chair.
Yes.
Chairman Wiley.
Aye.
5:15.
And 515 is a bid recommendation for the purchase of these renewable energy training units. And these units, you'll see here, the source is from the Illinois Green Economy Network. That's that iGen grant funds that were provided for this. And these trainers will be used to teach renewable energy courses that was part of that grant program.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees award the bid for 2 alternative energy training units with associated curriculum and 1 turbine nacelle training unit with associated curriculum to the lowest responsible bidder, Advanced Technology Consultants Incorporated, in the amount of $108,368. Can I get a motion?
And so moved. Second?
Questions? Discussion?
And so then, I believe at this time, this had went out to bid and only two companies had, well, really, it's the same company, or no, three? Three
Two
had,
bids by Advanced Technology Consultants and then 1 by Maltz.
Vice President Saban, my question is, how can a company put two bids in?
Yeah, they are alternates. The turbine nacelle trainer, there are 2 different trainers there, and probably someone else might be better to explain the difference between those 2 trainers in there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right here. My name is Mike Bennett, I'm with Advanced Technologies. And the difference between the 2 training systems is, one of them is a unit that hasn't been made yet, a brand new unit. The other one is our display unit from our showroom in New Jersey. What we do every year, we'll sell our display units to schools because we can sell them at a reduced cost. You're looking at a cost of savings of $20-some thousand versus a brand new unit. And what this was able to do now is, in your budget, allow Georgia to purchase 2 of your wind solar trainers to go along with this program instead of just 1.
So this is like buying a demo.
And, well, it's not a demo unit, it's a display unit. You know, a demo unit, we have demo units that go around to trade shows all the time. They're in semi-trucks, go bouncing back and forth. But this is a display unit, just sits in the showroom, but it still comes with all the warranties, the 3-year warranties as a brand new unit would come with also, so.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments? Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern.
Aye.
Trustee Stampa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy. Aye. Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Trustee Bakowskis is an aye. Vice Chair, Dr. White.
Aye.
Chairman Wiley.
Aye.
5:16.
516 is a bid recommendation for motor control trainers and instrumentation and process control trainer. And this is another one where we got the grant, that the grant is specific. This is the Workforce Equity Initiative grant. We've had this wonderful opportunity from the Black Caucus that provided funds for us to create a lot of short-term training programs. And so this is a piece of equipment that will upgrade the equipment at, in the current motor controls course and the current instrumentation and process control course. So we're really excited about this because this opens up the opportunity to do a lot of additional training and meet the needs so people can get, and this grant actually requires that a lot of specifics, and they have to make $17.50 an hour, is that right? $17.50 an hour, and they have to be trained in and out. So this is opening up a great opportunity for a lot of students.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees award the bid for 5 units of motor control trainers with associated curriculum and 1 instrumentation and process control trainer with associated curriculum to the bidder, Advanced Technology Consultants, Inc., option 1, in the amount of $58,730. Get a motion.
So moved. Second.
Discussion or questions? Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern.
Aye.
Trustee Stampa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy. Aye. Trustee Valdivia.
Abstain.
Trustee Bakowskis is an aye. Vice Chair, Dr. White.
Aye.
Chairman White.
Aye.
517.
517 is the Trio Upward Bound program, and this is one of the spring trips, and this is, you've seen these in past years, so it's not a whole lot different. The goal of the program is to increase the academic performance and motivation levels of the eligible enrollees, and this one is one that's geared to the Rich East High School students, and this particular trip will serve approximately 60 students from the group from Rich East High School. And the funds are another one, we get great, this is opportunity that the funds are coming, this is the U.S. Department of Education funds.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the contract with King College Tours for $32,988 for the Trio Upward Bound Program Spring Break College Tour to New York, Washington, D.C., from April 13, April 17, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, question?
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern.
Aye.
Trustee Stanfa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy.
Aye.
Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman, Dr. White.
Aye.
Chairman Wiley.
Aye.
518.
And 518 is similar, and I should have pointed out that what they do is visit colleges. There's a lot of different things that they get the opportunity to do that they wouldn't normally get to do here, but it does include the opportunity to visit lots of different historical colleges and different events that they can attend. And this one is for a different population. There's some overlap. I think they said that there'll probably be a few overlap, but also 60 students. This one will happen in the summer, and it's also the students from Rich East High School.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the contract with King College Tours for $34,954 for the Trio Upward Bound Program Summer College Tour to Orlando, Florida, and Atlanta, Georgia, from July 6th through July 11, 2020. Can I get a motion?
So moved, that was Ms. Williams, right? Mulhern. Mulhern, and then I'll second it.
Is there any discussion, any questions?
Okay, you want to see if we can all go along, right?
They're going to Georgetown,
Chaperones.
an hour, they're going to an outlet mall? Come on.
Any other discussion or question? Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern.
Aye.
Trustee Stanfa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy. Aye. Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chair, Dr. White.
Aye.
Chairman Wiley.
Aye.
519.
And this one is also another Trio Talent Search program, and this one is the similar process, same type of a focus, but this one works for students, is for students with school district 206.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the contract with King Tours and Transportation for $49,895 for the Trio Educational Talent Search Program Spring Break Tour to North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia from March 22nd to March 26th, 2020. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion, questions?
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern.
Aye.
Trustee Stanfa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy. Aye. Trustee Valdivia. Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman, Dr. White.
Aye.
Chairman Wiley.
Aye. 520.
And this is the purchase recommendation for business intelligence software implementation. It's basically the dashboard, so we can get all the different reports to communicate with our Aleutian colleague software.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the purchase of software as an extension of our Aleutian enterprise system at a cost of $76,007, including a 10% contingency. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there discussion, questions? Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern.
Aye.
Trustee Stanfa.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy. Trustee Valdivia. Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman, Dr. White.
Aye.
And Chairman Wiley.
Aye.
521.
And this is another great opportunity provided by that same Workforce Equity Grant Initiative to provide those short-term training programs. And one of the programs that was written into this was for our CDL truck driving program. So with this grant, we're looking to purchase 3 tractors and 3 trailers for the program.
recommended that the Board of Trustees authorize and approve the purchase of 3 used tractors and 3 used trailers from Aero Truck Sales in Bolingbrook, Illinois, for the commercial truck, driver CDL Class A program. Tractors are estimated at $39,950 each, and the trailers are estimated at $18,000. Total purchase price includes a 2-year warranty and will not exceed $215,000. Motion.
So moved.
Second.
So, move to second. Any questions?
Yeah, that was.
So what I'm reading here is that we're getting trucks. I might start training people to drive trucks again. I'm so happy to see that. Because every day we drive by, and I'd be so sad. Because KLL, basically, they were probably pretty much clogging Walmart Halston. But there are people learning to drive. But this is really nice because there's such a demand for truck drivers. It's like, if we just have the trucks and have the teachers, we're gonna do this again. So I'm very happy. Whoever worked on it, I want to thank you very much. And definitely everybody else vote for me.
So do we have a CDL program still, or what?
It's approved, but we had to partner with KLM and they had the opportunity to move to another state. So that happened, but perfect timing for us. This grant came up and it's a great opportunity that will do exactly what Trustee Stanford just said.
So how much will we be paying?
It's right in here. But it's all grant funds, total, it's grant funds.
Okay.
Now, I'm assuming, I know when KLM got out of here, the students that were finishing up just completing out there. So now we're starting, we have a new batch just waiting.
It's just very,
Well,
yeah,
twofold, yeah, we do, but the WE grant that Anthony oversees, they've got 40 ready to go.
45.
Okay, yeah, that was my question.
And then the WIOA funds too, I think they pull back 40 for us a year, so we should have a good funnel.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I have a question, as it relates to the grants covering this. You know, I want to make sure that this is not going to be along the same line as the mobile training, where we were told that the grant was going to cover everything, but then we have to hire faculty to operate that, and then also we had to purchase some computers. So I just want to make sure now the grant is going to take care of everything else in there, faculty or the persons that are going to be.
The grant is only paying for the tractors and the trailers. We'll have to, we're going to start by with part-time instructors. We are hoping to hire a full-time faculty. I did have conversations with Nicholas over here. It's just a matter, we have to get up and running so then we to get going. But at the college, we will have to hire individuals.
So what
The
kind of
grant pays for, will pay the tuition.
So the grant pays all fees for any student tuition, which also have to pay for faculty.
So in essence,
For this grant period, which we are hoping to get a renewal of the grant. That's the hope. We'll get more information in March about that. But yeah, we certainly have the support of faculty pay to come from that in the short term.
I just think sometimes it's really helpful when that information is provided to us, and we have an idea of what an estimated cost of outside of the grant's gonna be, or if, you know, other areas of the grant are gonna cover X, and then another part's covering Y, that we know, it don't have to, you know.
If it's helpful, I'll make sure to get the information to the trustees, just, again, regardless of the vote, to make sure you have that.
No, I understood, but that's what's helpful for us, that we get the information. Any other discussion or questions?
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Moore. Trustee Stanford.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy. Aye. Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman, Dr. White.
Aye.
Chairman Wiley.
Aye.
522.
and this is for the Scantron. This is a contract that we have, a 3-year agreement with Scantron. We are now moving to the cloud application, so it can still do the paper-based, but we also can have the online or hybrid, so there's lots of different ways that it can be used, not only to evaluate, but then also to provide reports for those evaluations.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the 3-year service agreement with Scantron for a purchase of $42,597. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, question? Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern. Trustee Stanford.
Aye.
Trustee Reddy. Aye. Trustee Valdivia.
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White.
Aye.
Chairman Wiley.
523, please.
523 is a contract approval for Desire to Learn. That's what you have heard is referred to as D2L in the past. It is used for, not only for online classes, but for the hybrid classes and some even face-to-face classes use it for grading purposes and messaging to students and stuff. So it's our foundation that we use for all of those classes.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve a 3-year service agreement with Desire to Learn, at a cost of $326,780.64, consisting of 3 annual payments of $108,926.88. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll second it.
So moved.
Questions?
So we entertain the motion. I don't know that the order matters, council. We got the second and then the motion. For what?
No, I'll make the motion, Ms. Williams?
Motion.
And I'll make the second.
Question?
Since I guess like seeing this price, like from obviously from Desire to Learn, I think it's really like insane to me how like we're paying like this much money, and a lot of my professors like don't even like use P2L. So I'm like, I really feel like that needs to be like enforced. Like there's a lot of professors like you don't even submit, like it's just like completely like useless. And I really, that's why I'm like, and for the college we paying an annual payment of $108,000, like that's a lot of money going to use that like we're not.
It's a lot of money, but it's 3 years. I just wanted to.
3 years.
Yes, for 3 years.
Yeah, she said annually.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Annually for like something that's not like enforced to use.
And that's like a contractual thing, so thank you for that advice.
Oh, so you heard that it's not really.
It's not used, like I have like 5 classes and I'll probably use it 5 classes. So it's like, I just think.
Now, are we paying this per license, or is it open and you just pay, and then we have unlimited availability of these for it?
It's an annual amount. The amount is FTE based. So if we use it for one class or for all the classes, the amount would be the same by licensing agreement. However, our goal is for all the classes to use it. I know, that's something we're trying to push for more and more people to use it. Even if it's just from a hybrid standpoint for faculty to post lecture notes or to do quizzes or testing or whatever, we do want to see more of an adoption of it.
Maybe, does there need to be more professional development related to the use of it? Is that why, staff is hesitant to implement it in their instructional practices, or?
That's a fact. Faculty decide what they do in the classroom. That's their decision. We certainly encourage that. We certainly support that, but their classroom is their domain.
We currently only have 4 full-time faculty that don't use it. I don't know if you have adjuncts that are teaching you, but most of the full-time faculty do use it. They post messages, they post their syllabi, they post their PowerPoints, their lecture notes, and their grade system. Some people use it in full capacity, and some just use it for messages.
So it's widely used by the full-time faculty, but not very much by the adjunct faculty?
It is. It's unusual that somebody would have 5 classes and only one of the classes would utilize D2L.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on like how like you guys view as like how they use it. Like, because I could say like, yeah, all of them post like syllabus, but from like using it where it's like, oh, we're all doing discussion, we're all submitting. Most of the stuff that I have to submit, it's like I literally have to like give it to them. So I'm like, so seeing that it's like this much money and it's not like enforced, I feel personally like that's a waste. I feel like that's something that like, okay, like if we're spending this much money, like you guys, the future's coming, technology is like raising, like everyone has to start getting into it. And that's just how it is.
How long has Desire to Learn been here at Prairie State College?
Since 2010.
I thought so, because I had a class in 2012 and I used it. Yeah.
Let me ask this, is there a timetable on this approval? Can we
when does their current one expire?
The current one expires, I think, in June. We were asking for approval early because there's a new version coming out, so we wanted to have early access to that so that we can start, experimenting with it and putting it in a training environment.
Well, just on what we're hearing from our student trustee, we really would like to have an opportunity to see how many of the faculty are really using it.
I could come up with some
I
statistics.
think where that might fall into though, because it is you guys.
Faculty contract.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
And
I think if I can speak for a moment, I think the other thing is like all of our online classes are run through Desire to Learn.
Right.
So we need a system, whether it's this one or another one way or another. We need a system. And in 2010, we swapped from Blackboard, which we had been using, to Desire to Learn at that point.
So
Do you like it?
The contractual thing, but who did I hear that from? Heard it from someone.
it's the faculty contract, they can choose to use it or not use it, it's not something, I mean, I think.
I wouldn't.
It's widely used.
It is
It's important
widely
to point out it's widely used. I use it in both my online classes and my face-to-face classes. I use it intensively. There's videos up there, they upload documents up there. I don't know what percentage of the adjunct faculty are using it, but you must have in this day and age a learning management system. It doesn't have to be Desire to Learn, it can be Blackboard, right, or something else.
We use
Well,
Canvas
there is a
at the
high
elementary
level.
level. I mean, even
Yeah.
at the elementary level, fifth grade, we use Canvas. It's
Yeah,
the same.
you have to have something, and they're outrageously
Yeah.
expensive. We're not happy with the expense, but there's intensive use here. I mean, the number of online courses that we have, for example, has increased over the years. You cannot not have a learning management system.
Craig, do you like the system?
Would you?
Do you like the system?
Yeah. There's a
Do you like
problem.
the system, Thomas?
Yes, yeah, I mean, I think it's a solid system. The other thing I want to note here is we do not host this locally.
Okay.
We did host Blackboard locally. There are only some laughs here, but we had the system go down and massive loss of folks' grades in 2008, I want to say, 9?
8 or 9.
In all events. So this cost also covers the hosting of the learning management system on their servers and their management of the sort of back end.
So let me ask you, are you happy with the platform, or is your faculty happy with the platform, or should we entertain maybe the idea of a different platform that maybe?
I wouldn't recommend.
I mean, I'm asking for their input though.
When we swapped from Blackboard to D2L, it took us a year and a half probably to go through the process of looking at all the systems that were out there, evaluating what they might be good or bad about them. So I think that might be something we need to do at some point, but it's a long process, and I think the faculty would be glad to engage in that. But it is something.
Well, I thank you for our lively discussion this evening, and that's what we need, to hear the info from all sides.
I just think that it's important, like, we're interested in getting feedback
Sure.
from we want to empower you guys with the faculty with the tools to help best do your job effectively, so.
We very much felt like it was the best one we looked at in 2010. I think it continues to be. Blackboard swallowed up a lot of the smaller ones in the process since then. So those are the two biggest players in the market. There are a handful of smaller ones out there as well. But for a solution that provides hosting as well as a full management system that's got quizzing capabilities, student assignment turn-in, grades, all those sorts of things, it's definitely one of the better options.
Okay, thank you.
And nursing, we use it extensively. We put our announcements on for our students. We put our test blueprints there, our lesson plans. Our students turn in their assignments there, their written assignments, because I'm tired of carrying paper like this young lady just said. I just want to look in. I grade it on Turnitin in D2L and put it back in and attach it to a file and send it back to the student. They get their grade immediately. So we use it extensively.
That's why I think it should be like, just like that.
That's a sidebar conversation. Any other questions, any other discussion? Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern? Trustee Stanford?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy?
Aye.
Trustee Valdivia? Trustee Bakowskis is an aye. Trustee
Yes.
Vice Chairman Dr.
Yes.
Hey, you.
Yes. Well,
And Chairman White. Chairman White.
524, please.
This is for a specific trip with a contract approval for holiday tours. The baseball team is going to a tournament in Florida, and they are looking to use holiday tour bus. It's the one that will allow them to travel back and forth overnight because it has 2 drivers and its restrooms. They don't have to stay overnight at a hotel, so they're opting to go with this one. It's holiday tours.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the contract with Holiday Tours Incorporated for a charter bus for the baseball team in the amount of $10,500. Entertain a motion.
Move. Second.
Questions? Discussion? Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams?
Actually, I'm sorry, quick question on the, I'm interested in these baseball trips. If they went to a hotel, would we have to vote for it, or would that be?
Yes, at this point, what
No, I know
happens.
this is 2 weeks off, so I'm gonna
Right,
vote for
this
it.
is,
We're
well,
gonna
and
give
this
it.
was just the van itself. I mean, the tour, that would have been a whole separate thing that would have made it even more expensive. This one they thought would be under 10,000. In the past, it has been below 10,000, and then this time it came up and it's like, we saw that, we're like, whoa, that has to go to the board for approval, which is why it's kind of late here. But it just little by little has creeped up. But overnight hotel would have definitely increased it and made it far more expensive.
Thank you. That's all, I'm sorry.
No.
Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern? Trustee Stanford?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy?
Aye.
Trustee Valdivia?
Aye.
Trustee Bakowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman Wiley?
Aye.
525.
And good luck to the baseball team on their spring break
Yeah.
trip.
Resolution, this is the follow-up, this is, I think, the final piece of this, for the intent to issue the funding bonds. And so the recommendation is there, and I think we have Ken Peterson here in case there's any questions for the rationale.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution setting forth and describing in detail claims heretofore authorized and allowed for proper community college purposes, which are presently outstanding and unpaid, declaring the intention to issue not to exceed $18,500,000 bonds for the purpose of paying claims against Community College District Number 515, Cook and Will Counties of Illinois, and directing that notice of such intention be published as provided by law. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Questions? Discussion? Mr. Secretary.
Trustee Williams?
Actually, I'm sorry, my questions are coming slowly. I'm sorry, Trustee Williams. And so the question is.
Probably have Attorney Peterson step up here.
Thank you. So the question is just, we're not authorizing the expenditure of $18.5 million right now. We're authorizing the bonding as a reserve fund, and then in the instance that we would have to pay out from it, those instances would come before the board individually.
Well, so the expenditure is different than the bonding, that's correct. So with the bonding, what you're doing is you're authorizing right now the ability to issue up to $18.5 million. You won't issue $18.5 million. You want to have the authorization to do more than what you need, and then we'll continue to work with the college to actually narrow down the exact cost of the budget and how you're going to spend it over the next 3 to 5 years. And we'll be back in another 30 days at your next board meeting to come up with the actual resolution to issue the bonds. This is just given the authority. You have to do this, to publish notice in the newspaper to give the public the notification that you're going to do this for 30 days.
I appreciate that. We're starting to zip through things, and it's a large dollar amount, so I didn't want to just.
Yeah, you've already issued your debt certificates, and this is to refinance that.
Thank
So,
you.
Any other questions?
That's all.
Oh, that's it? Any other questions? Thank you. Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern?
Aye.
Trustee Stanford?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy?
Aye.
Trustee Valdivia?
Aye.
Trustee Bakowskis is an aye. Vice Chair, Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman Wiley?
Aye.
526, please.
526 is the budget transfers, and this includes transfers for November, December, and January.
It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the budget transfers for November and December 2019, and January 2020 is indicated in our enclosure. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Questions, discussion? Mr. Reddy?
Are you sure?
Would you call the roll, please?
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern? Trustee Stanford?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy?
Aye.
Trustee Valdivia?
Aye.
Trustee Bakowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White?
Aye.
And Chairman Wiley?
Aye.
Had to wait for him to respond.
Yeah. Want to make sure I didn't miss anybody.
6-1, please.
6-1, you have in your packet a list of external contacts for my calendar for starting 12/4 and going through 2/19. And then I would also point out you have a sustainability, and I think you met before, but I just point out that Joel Nightingale is in the audience. He's our sustainability coordinator. He's not always here, but he's doing great things always on campus. And here is his annual report for you. And then also inside, there's a lot of different events that are happening in our Pioneer newspapers and copies of things, including athletic schedules. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you for your sustainability report. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Good job.
I like the presentation.
Yeah. Okay. 6-2.
6-2 is the Vice President's reports. If anyone has any questions, I'm sure any of the Vice Presidents would be happy to answer.
Anything from the board? Thank you all for your reports. Appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
The next one is 6-3 is the Vice President's savings report.
Thank you, Dr. Winfrey. This is the financial review, and we also have November, December, and January included here. If we could flip over to the final month that we have shown here, January 31st, I'll go through some detail here. 7 months are gone through January of our fiscal year, 58% of the year gone. If you look at the approved budget for fiscal year 20 on the right-hand side, total operating funds, and compare it to the actual, you'll notice that 67% of our revenue has been received. I would say it should be higher, but we move down to the expenses. Of our $32 million budget, we've spent $17 million, which is 54% of the expenses have been spent, with 58% of the year gone. We're still in good shape there with that budget, a little closer than I'd like to be, but I'll move down to the general cash, and you'll notice that the general cash in the prior year was $14 million. This year it's about 11, and in the prior year we had $21 million approximately, and we're about 17 million now. A lot of that is capital. We've had, the roof and some other things if you want to get into detail. But so the cash is down. However, there's good reason for it, and I'll leave it at that unless anybody has any questions.
What are those good reasons?
Oh, the enrollment's down. This place runs on 4 credit enrollment. And we have spent money on, the capital items that we've talked about.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other on that? Thank you, Dr. Saban. 6-4, sustainability report?
That's the one I meant
I know,
to.
but I just want to know if there's anything else.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I went out of order. It was in the folder, so I
Yeah.
spoke to it then.
That's fine. Just wanted to address it.
Thank you.
7.1, please.
And that's in your calendar. This is
TA?
No.
Chair Wiley, anything from ACCT?
No.
743?
So we have the community service awards as a nomination process, so I think at this point, we're looking for people to serve on a committee, and we usually have 2 trustees. It's not a difficult, it's not a time-consuming task, so if anyone's willing to serve on that, there's a board of trustees, Dr. James Griffith Community Service Award, and then also the Michael Monteleone Community Service Award. So we look for 2 trustees to serve on a committee to evaluate nominations.
Sure.
So that was, Joelle. Thank you.
Oh, Chris said no. 74, Foundation.
And the foundation report is in your packet, and I will tell you, there's a lot of great things that have been happening, and mixed with our fabulous Jazz Fest that we just had. Thank you, Valerie, for her group with the Jazz Fest. The foundation had the VIP reception. They sponsored that, and it was a fabulous event. Deb and her team did a great job. And then we also have the economic forecast breakfast coming up next Friday.
This Friday.
This Friday. Saying yes, it's coming Friday, sorry.
Well,
You say, well, you gotta do it like I do. Well.
I don't have that good of a voice, I'm sorry.
That's a one of a kind.
Yeah, one of a kind.
Is there any items that we haven't covered yet?
Wow, it's been amazing. I'm gonna note 2 things very quickly. First, we are actually excited about this chief diversity officer position, and it's really a question of, I think, as Professor Nicholson noted, the how of it. And I wanna note that everything that Dr. Anthony said was wrong. No, I'm kidding. Everything he said is we agree with. I think by and large, we simply disagree on the how here. We disagree on the process. I want to thank him, and I want to thank all the deans and the vice presidents and Dr. Winfrey for always having an open door. We always have been able to work as partners in making Prairie State a better place, and I want that to continue as we move forward. With all the deans, and with the vice presidents, and with our president. So, thank you.
Thank you so very much. 76. Student government. How you doing this evening, Mr. O'Leary?
First and foremost, it's an honor to be here. As far as Student Government Association, we want to continue to push involvement. Again, there's a correlation between involvement and academic success for students. In our last couple of months, because a lot of us are going to be transferring out of our, last couple of months in our positions. And I think that, this school has all the resources to compete with four-year universities, but the decisions start here. And I think that I agree with Dr. Anthony on the reorganization plan, because I think it's vital for the well-being of the college and the success for the students. And whether it be a rising or one-on-one counseling, I think is very important from a student perspective. And also, regards to sustainability, I think that, Joe and I got over there, I'm very close to it, and I think that he's doing a very good job here, because not only is sustainability important, but it's profitable. And I really appreciate that. We're considering that and seeing that in the future.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate all that you do. You cleaned that board of health, look at you. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into closed session to deal with appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, dismissal of specific employees of the public body, specific individual who serves as independent contractor as part of recreational, educational setting, volunteer, public body, legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony, complaints lodged against an employee, against legal counsel for the public body, and its validity.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, then moved in second.
Who wants a second?
Roll call.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Moore?
Aye.
Trustee Stampa?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy?
Aye.
Trustee Valdivia?
Aye.
Trustee Bykowskis is an aye. Vice Chairman Dr. White?
Aye.
And Chairman Wiley.
Aye.
We are now entering executive session.
Okay, we're going to closed session.
Thank you all for coming and staying. And, I don't know how long we'll be, but, we'll wait if you choose to.
Well, I wasn't gonna see it now, that's why I didn't respond. But is it possible, like, if I don't know, like,
Oh, no. If you were there, they would have lost their money. That's right. I'm just saying.
So my friend said, he has his best game on the night. Bless him.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Both of them, give Ms. Mulhern.
Okay.
Motion, she second, right?
No, Williams.
Williams second? Oh, okay.
Roll call.
One second. All right, trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Mulhern?
Aye.
Trustee Stampa?
Aye.
Trustee Reddy? Aye. Trustee Valdivia?
Aye.
Trustee Bykowski says an aye. Vice Chair Dr. White?
Aye.
Chairman Wiley?
Aye.
All right, meeting is adjourned at 9:23 p.m.